And we are back. Our featured guest tonight is someone who our viewers already know very, very well. His accomplishments in the field of meteorology have become legendary because of the internet. And now he's back on the air at NBC15. And we are so glad to have him back. Please welcome back a good friend of the show and fellow New Yorker, Alan Sealls. Alan, good to have you back.
Well, great to be back, and look how fast time has moved since I was last here.
Oh, geez, yeah. A bunch has happened since you were last on the show. How have you been?
Actually, I'm doing great. I'm great. My family's great. We are being healthy. We are being conscientious about our environment, and the new job is great, too.
How has life changed for someone in the newscasting industry since the beginning of COVID? Because I understand doing the weather, you don't have as many opportunities as some of your colleagues to have to be out there and just putting a mic in front of somebody and interviewing them and going back and forth with a mic. But how has that changed overall?
Well, COVID changed everything in life. Right after I started at NBC15, which was just over a year ago now, 2 months later we hit COVID. And coincidentally, the week before we basically started our lockdowns, my station had just given us all software so we could work from home. I mean, it was a pure coincidence. So literally, the first week that we were told, don't come to work, stay at home, I was able to do everything from home that I've always done at work. And that was a big change.
Well, to some extent, but during your sabbatical, for lack of a better way of putting it, and when you were in between gigs, you were doing still some things on social media from home anyway, no?
Right. So what's amazing to me after being in this business for, I was just counting it up, it's almost 34 years, is technology has made everything shrink down. The internet has given me all the data, just about all the data I need. So I can do what I do at work at home. It's not always as easy as it is at home, but it can be done. And even on the road, much of my sabbatical, I was out of the Mobile area, but I was still doing weather for Mobile on social media from where I was on my smartphone.
So did meteorologists get classified as essential workers?
Well, actually, I have just learned that in a sense we are, because the media is in the third class of folks to get the COVID vaccine. So we are kind of essential.
So last time we talked, your future was still open as to your next career move. Now you're in NBC15, and we're so glad to have you back on the air. How have you enjoyed getting back in the game at a new station, and what has it been like? Are stations that much different from each other?
No, we're all structured the same way, and my station is owned by a corporate parent, just like my previous station was. So you have local management, local people, you have corporate people telling the local people, here's how you should do things in so many words. And it's the same workflow. It's the same philosophy of journalism, news, and weather. So it's very much the same. Different people. Overall, I am happy where I am. It's a good bunch of people. And what's also funny is back to COVID, I started in early January, and it was mid-March that the building cleared out. So I hardly got to meet a lot of the people I work with. And now if I were to see them, I wouldn't know them because everyone's wearing a mask, if they're even in the building.
So during your time off, did you get a chance to travel much at all?
I did some travel. Most of it was just taking care of home business, family business, but not as much as I wanted to fun travel.
Well, and then the reason why I ask is because, when people travel, I wonder if, from your perspective, dealing with weather so often, if you look at travel in a slightly different way than the rest of us. Like, does it become weather tourism for you when you travel?
Always. If I have a conference, I will go out early to the conference if it's somewhere else in the country, specifically just to spend a few days doing weather photography. When I visit family, which my family's scattered all around the country, they wonder, well, why is he getting up at 5 in the morning? It's because I want to go see the sunrise. So, yes, it is always a part of what I do wherever I am.
Now, I've always wondered, and I'm sure some of our viewers do, and some of the people who follow you as well, what does a day in the life of a meteorologist look like?
So for me, it's different depending on whether you work the evening shift, the morning shift. What's unique about my schedule is I work the evening shift. So I go to work at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm not really done with my workday until at least 11 in the evening. But my day starts at 10 a.m., so I wake up late because if I were to get up early, I'd be tired by the 10 o'clock news. So I'm up at 10 a.m. Literally within the first 3 minutes of getting up, I'm looking out the window because I'm trying to figure out, is the forecast what I said it would be, which it usually is. Every once in a while, though, it's like, that's not what I said. During the morning, my morning is like most people's evenings. I'm going to the grocery store, I'm paying bills, I'm taking care of the house, taking care of the yard. I'm also, though, jumping on the computer to check in with my COVID compliance form for both my full-time job and my part-time job at South. I teach a meteorology course there. Along with that, I'm preparing for the job and the other job, making a preliminary forecast. Social media, boy, that thing, it's a double-edged sword. It's great, but it's a 24/7. So I'll check in with that, and then I'll head to work by 2 in the afternoon. The work day, once I hit the door, boy, it's nonstop for about 3 hours between social media, meetings, radio, making the forecast, making the graphics, recording things for one of our other channels. So it's actually a lot that happens. The one thing that's kind of out of the mix right now is school visits, which back in the old days, a year ago, I would go to a school every week or speak at a Rotary Club or something like that. So that has pretty much ended. Although I still do virtual visits, which the fun part about that is I don't have to drive 45 minutes to an hour to get somewhere. I just get in front of the camera and bring up my PowerPoint. Most days are pretty routine. It's those severe weather days where I know in advance that I'll be working a 12-hour day. So I take snacks, I take food, and I prepare to be there for the long haul. And then there are those days where I get home at 11 o'clock and there might be a tornado warning at 12:30 in the morning. I get dressed, go back to work, go on TV, and come back home again, hopefully not too long after that.
Do you have the ability to, like with a green screen, if something happened, like just set up, a green screen in your home with even any kind of makeshift camera? So if you did have an emergency thing, it could just be boom right there. They could link to you. You could Google Drive it straight to them or something like that.
Right. I didn't go that far in my setup, in part because I don't have the space to set up, because the camera has to be really far away from the green wall. I do have monitors where I can stand in front of a monitor, and then of course I can do the equivalent of a Skype or a Facebook or
sure, like
other software that allows me to be seen in the graphics right next to me. So yeah, we can pretty much do all that.
So here's what I want to do. We need to go to a break, something you're used to. And then when we come back, I really would like to talk to you about the 2020 hurricane season and what we might be able to consider or possibly expect in 2021. So can you stick around until after the break?
Certainly.
Thank you. We will be right back after the break with meteorologist Alan Sealls.